Africa, ladies and gentlemen and honorable members, is our home, and indeed it is our future. It is a market of over 1 billion people, and it is growing rapidly, far more rapidly than South Africa. The National Development Plan acknowledges the global shift of economic power from west to east and highlights the rise of Africa. Indeed, we have already begun to see our trade patterns shift from traditional partners in Europe and the United States to new markets in Asia and Africa. Africa now accounts for about 18% of our total exports and nearly a quarter of our manufactured exports, although largely in SADC. Over the past 5 years, the South African Reserve Bank has approved nearly 1,000 large investments into 36 African countries. These are mutually beneficial as they support development in those countries, and also they generate tax revenue, dividends, and jobs both abroad as well as in South Africa. To further support the private sector in expanding operations in Africa, I will announce simpler rules that will reduce the time and cost of doing business in Africa. A number of measures are proposed to relax cross-border financial regulations and tax requirements on companies, making it easier for banks and other financial institutions to invest and operate in other countries. Similar measures will apply to foreign companies wanting to invest in African countries using South Africa as their regional headquarters. The outward... Go for it, go for it. The outward investment reforms that apply as part of the Gateway to Africa reforms will also pertain to those companies seeking to invest in countries outside Africa, including the BRICS countries. In addition, substantial direct investments in regional developments are underway. We are helping to build infrastructure that will create opportunities for South African companies to expand their trade and investment across the border. The DBSA, the Development Bank of Southern Africa, is accelerating investment in the SADC region. We are supporting infrastructure projects in multiple countries, particularly in the key areas of electricity generation and transmission, and in strengthening road links in the region. Investment by the IDC, the Industrial Development Corporation, in 41 projects across 17 countries totaled some 6.2 billion rands in 2012. The bulk of these projects are in mining, industrial infrastructure, agro-processing, and tourism. As part of its long-term strategy to help secure energy supply for South Africa and the region, Eskom is considering options for investment in several regional generation and transmission projects.